networking here has been fantastic. And I think sales operations folks benefit greatly from these kinds of events, but sales leaders do as well. And I found that to be far better here than really any other sales-focused conference I've attended.
I think the fact that you guys offer the opportunity to access a lot of best practice content is incredibly valuable.
I was just very impressed by the knowledge and the energy of the management team you guys have here.
Sales has matured, now we're getting the benefit of all these new technologies that they're layering onto the platform.
InsideSales.com has been a great partner with ADP. Their product suite is top of the line.
Really wanting us to be successful has been key.
Sales has changed. Not just by a little, it's changed by leaps and bounds. And it's more than just innovation or disruption. It's a revolution. Launching an entire industry into a new era and flipping the script on the way we sell. The guessing game of who to call and when to call them. Spending more of your time managing lists than actually selling. And not knowing if any of it was worth the effort. That's long gone. The artistry of the sale is now augmented by the power of technology. Technology that can tell you who to call and when to call them. That can track your leads without you having to manage a list. And that motivates your sales team with instantaneous feedback on performance. It's moving so fast and having so much at your fingertips that it's almost like having superpowers. Meaning you'll be selling smarter, faster, and more. Sales has been revolutionized. Keep up, or be blown away in its wake.
I'm really, really pleased to get to introduce you to my friend, my colleague, my boss, Dave Elkington. Dave is an inspiring leader, a thought leader in many, many respects. Him and Ken have built an amazing company here. I'm sure when they first got started with this business, they could have never imagined that it would have grown to the heights that it's already grown. And folks, we're just getting started. So ladies and gentlemen, Dave Elkington.
Welcome to Park City, right? Welcome to Park City. We went to a lot of lengths to get the sun out there today. It was not a trivial task, so you can thank us later for that. So let's dig right in. Why are we here today? We're here for 4 reasons. 1, to build relationships. 2, we want to bring you a lot of thought leadership. 3, we're here to expose you and introduce you to next generation technology. And 4, to have a little bit of fun. So first, around relationships, you saw that a minute ago. We've brought together some of the most iconic brands in the market. Some of the biggest companies, some of the most bleeding edge technologies, and they're you. That's us right now. Now, what's amazing is we have over 800 attendees at this event. We're actually simulcasting this in two other spaces. We have over 300 companies. And what is more interesting is almost 90% of us are in a sales leadership role. There's actually 88%, which means this is an opportunity for you to go network and peer with and benchmark against what's working for you and may not be working for you, and then find out what's working with other people. So I encourage you to take that opportunity and go learn from some of these companies, but virtually every segment. You've got large enterprise all the way down to small business. Next, thought leadership. We have over 40 speakers and 14 keynotes. Now, what's particularly interesting is I believe we've been able to bring some of the most preeminent, most well-known thought speakers in the sales industry and the sales acceleration industry. Just as some fun facts, there's over 75 books written by these 40 sessions and 14 keynotes. There's over 354 sales leadership years in these people. And then lastly, there's over 320 keynotes given by the people presenting in the next 24, 48 hours. Next generation technologies. Not only do we hope to bring and introduce something that I hope blows everybody's mind in here, and I know I'm selling big, tell me if I oversold at the end of this, but also our partners and our customers are here. Particularly, I want to call out our two titanium sponsors, Salesforce and Microsoft. These two companies have virtually been the foundation upon which this entire new industry of sales acceleration has been built. It would not exist without these two companies. And frankly, as titanium sponsors, they're making a lot of the fun happen here. Next, we also have lots of other sponsors, particularly Consensus I wanted to highlight. They're one of the emerging product and demonstration technologies where they allow you to create very personalized, very customized demos for your customers that you can deliver. Similarly, we have companies like Domo, Outro, Aptus, CloudCraze, ExecVision, and Map Anything. These are all companies that are helping support you in this new ecosystem. And then the AISP, this is the Association of Inside Sales Professionals, which have really been bringing us together for the last 10 years. And then lots of other sponsors, as Mick said. Please take a few minutes and go visit them when you get a chance. And then the last thing, Leonard Skinner. So, yeah, Leonard Skinner. I don't have that many really fun things in this job. It's a hard job sometimes. I mean, Crimea River, of course. But this is one of the great things. I have the luxury of picking who comes in and which bands we hire. I love Leonard Skinner. They basically invented Southern rock. They were not easy, I will be honest with you, to arrange. They're particular about what kind of gigs they do, and they're particular about how they do their gigs. But they don't love corporate events like this. But we've got them. It'll be an amazing night tonight. It'll be an absolutely amazing night. Excuse me. So I want to get into the core content here, and we'll move reasonably fast. Our mission as a company is to help you sell more. That's what we talk about in our company meetings. That's what we talk about in our internal sales trainings. It's all about helping you sell more. And what we believe is that science and data is how we're going to help do that. And we believe that combination of science and data is revolutionizing the way people sell today. And it's not just science and data. People typically think when they see those two words combined, they think this is data science, right? That's not what we mean. We actually mean old school, 8th grade, scientific method science. And what I mean by that is, and scientific method, you observe, you hypothesize, you test, and you measure. The reason this is meaningful is the inside sales approach, not the InsideSales.com. The inside sales industry allows for a very data-driven, a very measurable approach to sales, which allows us then to constantly improve and iterate. And frankly, that's why we're seeing such dramatic results in the sales industry. It's that we're able to make an observation. You may see something your salespeople are doing. You then say, well, man, I think we can do something better. We then have, which is a hypothesis. You then test it, a very small test, and then you measure it, and then you tweak it, and then you iterate over and over. Traditional sales, field sales, doesn't have those kind of cycles. Traditionally, what you do is you send your field sales reps out in the field. They call a number. They come back at the end of a quarter, at the end of the year, and either they hit the number or they don't, which it doesn't allow you to do as many cycles and as many iterations. You can't learn. Inside sales is a scientific approach to sales, and that's the promise. Now, we believe, and we believe that our technology and our platform can help you dramatically increase your revenue, increase your numbers, increase your results. However, if I tell you that, I'm a little biased, as you'd expect. So we've chosen to bring one of our best customers. He's been a friend of the company for a long time. He's been a power user, and his company has had amazing results using a very iterative approach, a very scientific approach of deploying our technology. I'd like to introduce and have Kurt Crappy come up on stage. He is co-founder and CEO of Apttus. Give him a hand, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. So Apttus is really a game-changing technology. Tell us a little bit more about what Apttus is and the problem it solves.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting us up here. This is my first time in Park City. What a beautiful place.
Park City, right?
What a beautiful place. Never been here before. So, do any of you know Apttus? Yeah.
Give him a shout.
You're probably all customers. So we're a very interesting company, actually. So we started, can't believe it, about 10 years ago. And we actually pioneered with Salesforce the whole concept of building apps on their platform. So Salesforce didn't have a platform at that point. And the three of us sort of looked at how we could build a very efficient, an interesting model. And we approached Salesforce, built our app on Salesforce, and it was one of the best decisions we made. And we focus on this space called quote to cash, which is really when you finish your Salesforce automation, when sales guys get to the point they need to do a quote, from that point to connecting to ERP is what we do. So it's quoting, contract management, and revenue management.
And I'd like to call out, they were the first AppD, the first award Salesforce gave any of their App Exchange partners.
They were, and by Jim Steele right here. Jim brought us up on the stage, and we got the very first award. And we did amazing things. Now, today, we have Microsoft as a platform, too, because we've reached scale where we really need to have other platforms because customers need to have choices. Right. But it's been an amazing ride. There's some unique attributes about Apttus is we self-finance this company. And so we took no outside capital for 7 years, which is, in Silicon Valley, which is where we're located, really unusual. I coined Silicon Valley the land of non-profits without altruism.
Yeah.
Nobody ever makes money in Silicon Valley. And then you sell your company, right? And so we're a very different beast on that front. Now, we did raise quite a lot of capital the last couple of years because we've had explosive growth. It's been really
Well, I want to talk about that. That's one of the most exciting things. So in our customer base, we have some of the largest companies in the world, some of the fastest growing companies in the world, which introduces a lot of unique problems. What was the problem that you were addressing and you wanted to solve when you considered the inside sales technology?
Well, so for us, we were growing about 100% year on year when we were smaller. When we raised capital, we dramatically expanded the company. So to give you some stats, in January last year, we had 25 salespeople. And today we have 160. So that's bag carrying.
That's nominal
AEs.
growth.
And of course, there's the entourage, as we call it, the sales engineers and the BDRs and everybody else. So we grew a team that virtually from nothing to a very, very large presence. And the issue with that, for any of you who've been through a growth environment, it's a good problem to have, but it is really painful. And other than the normal, making sure you hire the right people and deal with the issues you get with that, the efficiency of the sales team was really important. And so when we discovered you guys and went down the path of what you're up to, it became very interesting for us because we have this new team, especially our inside sales group, about 100 people, and we really want to make them very efficient. And we were doing the classic building the lists on spreadsheets and wasting all the time doing that. And so our efficiency was actually really very low. And so we found you and we've implemented you.
So the huge efficiency problems, visibility problems. I mean, if you get running them on spreadsheets and people have got, I mean, people making calls and crossing them off the list. And those, I mean, as we as we engaged, you can't, trying to scale an organization at the rate you guys were doing it is really hard without an effective system to be able to track the data and drive the efficiency, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, share a little bit, I mean, and these are exciting, share a little bit of the results.
Yes, I think we have some stats up here, you know, and you would expect, and I've known Jim for many, many years, when you get customers up on the stage, it becomes commercial. Actually, I can tell you, honestly, these are real stats, and what we've really achieved from you has been spectacular. So I'm not saying that as a commercial, I'm saying it's because of what we really actually achieved. We've done some pretty amazing things. So other than the operational things, we implemented you, I think, about a year ago, and in Q4, when we finally sort of got the results through going through a whole cycle, we had an amazing Q4. So our Q4 was about actually 218%. We have 200% up here, 218% on a year-on-year basis, which is actually even bigger because Q4 is our biggest quarter. So that versus the previous quarter is even bigger than that.
Yeah. So as we prepared for this, we were a little nervous because that's a year over year. If you look at a quarter over quarter, the numbers are much larger. We just didn't think they would be believable in the audience here. So really staggering results, right?
Yeah, and we are very metrics driven, so we track all our opportunities, our closed deals back to sources, etc. And your technology was a key part of making that happen.
It's absolutely stunning, and it's all about science. As I spoke with the team, the entire organization, as you said, completely data driven. They're looking at numbers. They're running small tests constantly. I mean, it's one of the most efficient sales organizations I've seen. What's next? What's next for Apttus?
So we're actually doing something very similar to you. From a product perspective, in our quote-to-cash footprint, the products we sell automate that process. Just like all traditional enterprise apps, we automate the process. What we've been playing with in the last 18 months is more machine learning, artificial intelligence infused into that process. So we released a bunch of apps at our conference, also called Accelerate, by the way.
It's a good name.
A couple of weeks back. And what we're doing is we're making the experience for each of the users in quote-to-cash to be one not of just automating a process, but doing exactly what you're doing.
Very personalized, customized, using what? Using science and data.
Exactly, looking at data and then presenting to that user something that they could do differently or better to have a better outcome in quote-to-cash. So we sort of took a little bit from your book here.
Absolutely amazing. What do you guys say? Give them a huge hand.
Thank you.
So what's next for us? We want to use science and data to deliver even better products. Kirk couldn't have set it up any better for me. We want to help you sell more. That, as I mentioned, that is our entire purpose. By the way, there are people in back. Go ahead and squish in and let people fit in, if you will. What's the first step of that scientific method? It's observation. So in the last 12 months, since we met last time, we've really focused on 3 categories of observations. We wanted to learn particularly from you. And so we've spent a lot of time, and as Kirk mentioned, when you're in a hyper-growth mode, you inevitably run into some growth challenges, which we did. And so what we wanted to do is we first went and spoke to you. And the good news is you were very, very vocal. You were very open with us. The second thing we did is we went and analyzed the market. We did some research around what's happening in the overall marketplace and wanted to see if it affected the way we sold and the way you sold, and if we needed to do something different with our technology to help you adapt to what's happening right now. And then the last thing we did is we focused on your users, the people using the technology, your sales leadership. The good news and the bad news is your people respect you, they work for you, they're driven to be successful, but your needs are not necessarily their needs. So we've spent a lot of time, and I'm going to share a little bit of that research, trying to understand what they're trying to accomplish. So first, what we learned from you: stability, scalability, security. In the last 12 months, we've spent a lot of our resource trying to shore up the system. As we grew, we just exposed and ran into challenges, and you all have been huge partners with us. You've been patient as we've grown. We've seen a dramatic increase in the stability of our monthly releases. We've seen a dramatic increase in the overall stability of the platform. It's not a victory lap. This is something we have committed. This is our responsibility to you to always be working on this. But I want you to know this is our primary focus, the stability and scalability of the platform. Now, on the scalability side, we've added 4 additional data centers, both in North America and in Europe. You'll see us continue to expand that footprint all over the rest of the globe. We've also added an additional 5 telephony carriers to continue to improve the call quality of the platform. But this is one of our primary focuses. And lastly, security. This wasn't actually something you brought up, but we feel that this is a core commitment we've made to you. So we've gone to great lengths to improve the overall enterprise security. We've had an additional, I think, 4 or 5 external security audits done on the platform. But we anonymize, in our machine learning engine, Neurolytics, we anonymize everything, but we just want to go to even further lengths to make sure that we're being responsible stewards of that data as we help drive the productivity out of the platform. The second thing we heard from you was that one of the largest problems you're dealing with in your sales organizations is your ability to forecast accurately. It is not a trivial thing. Conceptually and operationally, it's not a hard thing to do, but it is so challenging to do it accurately. So we went out into the market and we found a company. Since we were here last, we found a company called C9. We acquired the company and we have merged them into our InsideSales.com platform. It's now called HD Forecast. And let me tell you why I'm really excited about this acquisition. What it represented to us and our Neurolytics engine was a lot of data. So if you understand, our ability to predict is based off of all of your sales reps performing activity, and we're anonymizing it and then observing what that activity is, and then what the results of that activity turn into, and then what was the context around that activity. So the kind of data we were observing were the profile of the people who are selling, the profile of the people who are buying, their companies, and those interactions between them. So that could be a phone conversation, an email, a visit on a website. And what it told us was who and when and how to contact individuals to optimize a very personalized sales interaction. What this acquisition brought us was the bottom of the funnel. So they're observing micro trends in the sales process. And then based off of that, we're able to understand what's likely to close, what's not likely to close. And so it gave us data of when and what and when is likely to close. The combination of the two gave us 60 billion sales interactions. That's a massive amount of data. We're adding currently about 5 to 6 billion of those sales interactions a month. And sometime, it's happening at a very fast rate. We believe sometime this month, we'll exceed 100 billion sales interactions. And what that means is if you look at from the bottom of the funnel all the way to the top, we have the entire data stack. And what that allows us to do is train the algorithms to be more effective and more efficient at helping your salespeople sell more. So, but it wasn't, and this product is available today. And we have companies, very large organizations, using the technology and being very successful on it. But it's not, again, just about data. There's an application behind this that it will help your salespeople, your sales managers, and you be very effective at solving what, in my opinion, as a CEO, is one of the biggest challenges. As my sales leadership are trying to report in a forecast, I'm making fairly critical decisions based off of this, based off of what they tell me they're going to bring in a given month or a given quarter. I'm going to hire people. I'm going to potentially let people go. I'm going to make investments in product and geographical expansion. If that's wrong, that's a pretty catastrophic mistake. If our sales leadership, if we miss forecast, that affects a lot of people's jobs. It affects, frankly, and ultimately, that affects our job if we do it inconsistently enough. Well, what the HD Forecast product does is it manages your pipeline for you, and it gets rid of all of it. Basically, it syncs into your CRM solution, whether it be Salesforce or Microsoft. It removes the spreadsheet, so you have immediate productivity improvement, and you have real-time visibility into everything happening in your pipe. Meaning, if a deal gets pushed out a week or a month or a quarter, as a sales manager or as a sales leader, you know that immediately. If it gets pulled in, you know that. If there's a split that happens, or if it gets pushed into a new territory, any of these things that happen in a very complex territory system across a very complex sales organization, your sales leadership and sales managers have immediate understanding into that and then can pivot very, very quickly. So if something does push into another quarter, as a sales leader, you can get on the phone with the sales rep and say, what just happened? Or you can get on the phone with the customer and say, listen, let's see if we can do something to bring that back and develop some relationship to help solve that problem. So it gives you real-time visibility into what's happening, gives you management tools. But the second thing that's my favorite about this solution is as sales reps are trying to forecast their deals, their opportunities, their accuracy, I say this with some trepidation, their accuracy rate is typically around 10% at the beginning of a period. Meaning, if they think these 10 deals are going to close, typically one of those 10, maybe two of those 10, in fact, actually close. And so by the end of the quarter, what do? They fill in it with a bunch of other opportunities that they didn't anticipate. And that's how they loosely get to their quarter. What the HD Forecast solution does is it observes the behavior of the sales reps. And there's lots of different profiles of sales reps. You have sandbaggers who don't put anything in the data into the CRM until the very end of the period, and they put it in, and then all of a sudden it closes 3 days later. You also have reps with happy ears, where they think everything is going to close. So what the system does is it profiles the seller based off of the type of sales prediction that they tend to put in the system. It then takes your observation as a sales leader, and it accommodates and actually lets you build in your judgment into this, and then it predicts a likely outcome. And what's amazing, and we see this over and over, we've seen this with thousands. In fact, I think we have 5 million deals in the last about 6 months that we've analyzed this way, and it has an 80% accuracy rate at the beginning of that period, and by the end, it's about a 90% accuracy rate. Which again, as a sales leader, this is one of your primary responsibilities. The next thing I want to talk about, and this was again coming from you. You've asked us. By the way, again, if you can scoot in a little bit, we have a bunch of people standing in back. You asked us around our vision solution. Many of you know our vision solution. Many of you have purchased this solution. The first thing you asked is to create more ubiquitous access to this technology. It was a server-side install. There's a much more ubiquitous access to this technology. There was also some very specific features, and we won't take a long time on this, but there's some very specific enhancements you asked that really accommodate personalization and a much more high-touch, hands-on approach. And to share this with you, I'd like to invite Travis Hansen, product manager over the solution, on stage. Travis, come on up. All right, Travis, show us what you got.
Thanks, Dave. So I'm really, really excited to talk to you guys about what we've been working on over the last little while. We have some good enhancements that I think that everyone here will like. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the Vision product, let me just give you kind of a brief overview of what we do. Vision helps you know which of your prospects are engaged, and then it helps you reach out to those prospects more effectively via email. So Vision will let you know when someone has clicked on a link in your email, when they've opened the email, when they've downloaded the attachment. And then it'll also help you as you're following up with your prospects. So it'll help you reach out more quickly and consistently through the use of email templates. So that's where Vision stands today.
That's okay.
What we're excited to announce, as Dave said, is some enhancements. Over the last year, we've spent...
Well, so before you move on, just to make sure everybody understands, as I'm sending emails to people, and many of you have seen this, it lets me know if somebody opened the email, when they opened the email, in many cases where they opened the email. It lets me know if they forwarded it to other people in the organization. So if I'm sending a proposal out, I want to know, did somebody open it? I want to know, did they forward it? If they forwarded it around a lot, that means they're excited and they're engaged in this. It also has the ability then to track if someone clicks on a specific link and goes to my website and spends 3 minutes on maybe the pricing page, which is also particularly interesting to me, right?
Exactly.
So what you then asked is you said, well, we need more personalization and more follow-up capability versus just us manually sending all these emails, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly. So we found that Vision works fantastic for the one-off follow-up emails that you need to send and for managing your deal flow, because you get these notifications on when your proposal is downloaded and so forth. But we also found that a lot of reps needed a way to send larger quantities of email in a shorter period of time. And so what we're excited to announce today is sales campaigns. What sales campaigns does, it allows your reps to automate their email follow-up while still keeping their emails human and personalized. So let me show you a little bit what that looks like from a sales rep perspective. So as you see, I just opened this from my Gmail client. The same will be true of Outlook. And let's say I'm selling into sales VPs in the healthcare space. So as a rep, I've already uploaded my curated list of sales VPs, and I'm going to define some messaging that I want to send out to these salespeople. So I'm going to define my first message. And the nice thing about sales campaigns is it's not just a mail merge tool or a mass email tool. It's a lot more like a butler that's going to take care of the more monotonous parts of email follow-up. So you see I've defined my first step that I'm going to send out, and then I'm going to define some follow-up steps. So if these sales leaders don't reply to my original email, I want to follow up with them, and I want to reference my original email and then reference the next email that I send so that it's one consistent conversation for those sales leaders. So I'm going to schedule these out to be sent over the next couple days, and then I'll show you what this looks like from a prospect's perspective. So before sending out, I can go and preview, make sure it looks good for every individual recipient. And then let me show you what this looks like in the inbox of a prospect. So as you can see, these emails will be sent as part of one thread. So it's one conversation, one thread, one sales rep. It's a human and consistent way for the rep to receive your message. For the prospect to receive the sales rep message. And what this looks like on the on the sales rep side is that what would take 20 to 30 hours of email sending and composing and email follow-up, and we condense that down into what takes about 20 to 30 minutes.
What do you guys think? Could you use this? Give me a hand. Thanks, Travis.
Thanks.
Now, again, these are features you've seen out in the market. We just want to make sure that the entire InsideSales.com platform is at parity with the things that you're seeing already out in the market. Now, as I mentioned, our goal is to help you sell more. And our ability to scale, as Kirk had mentioned, is limited based off of the number of people that we have. So what we've done, and I'm excited to announce, we've created a larger ecosystem that isn't just InsideSales.com. We want to help you be successful with our technology, with the best practices around the industry. And to do that, I want to introduce the new InsideSales.com Insiders program. And it's comprised of 3 categories of partners. The first one are the product integration insiders. These are other sales acceleration technologies that can help you be effective at what you do, but they're technologies built seamlessly inside the InsideSales.com platform. The second category are the system integration partners. These are folks that specialize in deploying our technology within given industries and consulting around the best practices associated with those technologies. And then the last one, and it may seem a little weird, but humor me here for a minute, are the academic partners. These academic partners are universities that are going to help bring more research to you. I'll share a little bit more in just a moment. So the first thing, just a bit of a click in on the product integration partners. We're introducing these 8, but I want to highlight 3 of them. The first one is Exec Vision. Let me give you an example of what the kind of integrations that we want to try and bring more value to you look like. Exec Vision takes the call recordings out of our technology and then analyzes it and transcribes it, and allows then you to do a free text search of any of the conversations your sales reps are having, whether it's an appropriate conversation and you want to use that for training, or maybe an inappropriate conversation and you want to use that for training. But it allows you then to take the snippets of those voice conversations and then put them into training folders so that you can sit down with your reps later. Another example is Consensus. Consensus is a technology that seamlessly out of our Vision emailing platform or out of the Power Dialer platform allows you to deliver pre-configured product demonstrations that are very adaptive to the needs and the interests of your buyers. But what it allows you to do is, again, being tied to Vision, it lets you know when they're opening these events. It lets you know at what stage into the demo, the presentation they get. And so it allows you to scale your sales reps' presentation time. And the last one is Outro. This is a company that is built, again, seamlessly within the Power Dialer interface so that as reps are prospecting and they're engaging with people, they have the ability to then get a referral. So it's leveraging the network of your entire sales organization, and particularly your sales leadership, and then it's meaning maybe I've got a connection with somebody. Well, they're talking to somebody that I know. They have the ability then to get that immediate introduction, leveraging that. And again, it's easy at hand for the sales reps as they're just working through their prospecting list. But those are the kind of technology partners that we're bringing, and I think you'll see us bring a lot more of them over the next 12 months. Next are the solution integration insiders. These are companies like Blue Wool. I mean, there's lots of them up here, vertical relevance. There's also companies like Annika Seeley and Trish Bertuzzi and Craig Kleeman. There's a lot of best practice people who are helping support you first deploy our technology or to optimize our technology and do it around a given vertical. So maybe you're in a healthcare space, maybe you're in an enterprise technology company, maybe you're a financial services organization, and we have these partners that specialize in each of those areas and across different platforms. So some specialize on the Salesforce.com platform, some in Microsoft, some in North America, some in Europe. So we have people who specialize, an organization who've specialized that can help you be more successful with our technology. The last area of insiders are our academic insiders. So we've partnered with these universities. This is Harvard, Oxford, MIT, Kellogg, BYU. I'm a BYU alum, so I have to include my BYU people. And what's amazing about this is every one of these universities have programs dedicated to doing research around sales. That's interesting, right? I mean, who in here graduated with a degree in sales? Nobody. It makes no sense. Yet, how many people graduate and go into sales? All of us did. So why is there such a discrepancy? Well, I think what we're seeing is some of these top universities are trying to fill that gap. Now, what we wanted to do is we wanted to partner with them and provide research capability with data and help them be more successful providing this kind of research. And so I think, and you know us, I mean, we've done a lot of research using the Neurolytics data set to try and help you around, and our MIT study talks about when, the optimal time to respond to web leads and how to respond to web leads. We've done market size studies, we've done a lot of stuff, but not at the scale that you asked us to provide. Many of you have said, we need more research, we want more best practices, and so that's what we're bringing to you. Now, what's particularly interesting about these organizations is they give us a macro view versus a lot of the research we've done is very specific. So they're looking in many cases at the overall economy. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, we wanted to go see what the economy's effect on our ability to sell was. So we partnered with these with many of these, and what we found is in the last 12 months, the market is a bit of a mess. There's a lot of volatility. We've seen 10% plus corrections in the last 12 months. Does that affect our ability to sell? We think so, so we did some research. What we found, in the research we did, we call it our BGI, our Business Growth Index. And what we did is we looked at over 5 million opportunities in the Neurolytics data set. We looked at over 5 million deals that people were processing and people were trying to engage in. And we then also surveyed 500 sales leaders. We said, all right, what is it that you think is happening in the last 12 months? And the results are actually interestingly contradictory. First of all, sales leaders are really bullish, meaning you are very optimistic. You're very resilient. Despite the economy, you're like, we're going to sell better than ever. That shouldn't be a surprise. As sales leaders, we are inherently very optimistic, right? Now, the contradiction here is in the data, we're finding there's a lot more competition for every deal you're chasing. Not a little competition, there's a lot more competition. And the competition seems to mostly be on the bottom end of the market. We're seeing a lot of companies emerge and nipping at your heels, trying to steal the bottom end of the market. Now, because of that, we're seeing a lot of companies moving upscale. You're doing larger deals. Now, that may not seem like a 5.5% number, may not seem huge, but that's a global number. That's a huge uplift. Similarly, we're finding, though, the sales cycle's pushing out and the close rates are actually going down, which means you're working harder, you're pushing your way up, you're working harder, but you are closing bigger deals. Now, the best practice we found, the ones that are winning, are focusing on those bigger deals, and they're focusing on a much more personalized, high-touch sales process. So the best practice out of this is engage at higher organizations, really try and do bigger deals, and be much more personalized and more accommodating. Now, I mentioned on the seller side, we went and surveyed and interviewed your users, your sales reps, and even some of the companies that don't use our technology, because we wanted to understand on a much broader scale what's happening and what their needs are. And we did a massive amount of research. We sent lots of product researchers out. We did over about 1,000 interview hours with your users. We did about 500,000 of flight hours of just going all over the world to ask people in Europe and ask people in China and ask people in North America and South America. And what we found was similarly, the expectation in the macro conditions where they want bigger deals, more personalization, the sellers want to do that too. There's a new generation of sellers in the market with millennials and Gen Xers becoming the predominant quota-carrying reps in the market today. And they want to do much more account targeting, much more very specific, larger deals. They want to personalize it, and they want a lot of autonomy. They want to blend their personality and what makes them unique into the relationship, into the deal that they're helping facilitate. So with those three categories of research, we want to introduce you now to the next generation of inside sales technology. And what we did is we basically took the user research, and the user observations, we took your observations to us, and then we took the big macro market influences, and we've spent the last 9 months retooling our entire product set from the ground up. We basically assumed nothing we knew was correct, and we asked you. Now, to share with you this vision, I want to bring up Jared Halleck. He's VP of Product for InsideSales.com. Give him a hand, guys. All right, Jared, why don't you share with us, I just sold this really big. Share with us what you got.
All right, thanks, Dave. I'm really, really excited to be with everyone today to share how we've taken these findings that Dave's just talked about and incorporated them into the newest product from Inside Sales. And so for the very first time, I want to introduce everyone to InsideSales.com playbooks.
So I'm going to wrap up now. I want to end with basically thanking everybody in the room. You guys have been amazing partners. Some of you are new to the partnership. Some of you have been partners with us for a long time. I want to thank you. You've grown with us. Our goal this year is to grow with you. We want to help you be more successful. We want to be a very transparent organization. And as such, we share when we have problems. We share when we have successes. But we want to listen. Oftentimes, I think when we have an organization where we're hiring hundreds of people every year, there's a risk that you feel that we don't have that interest because we're moving people around. It does happen, but we desperately want your feedback. We really, really do. We want to be a better company. We want to help you. We want to be partners with you. Please give us that feedback. Don't be fatigued with some of our growing pains. What you saw today was your feedback. If you think we missed something, give us that feedback and we'll adapt and pivot. Thank you for coming to the show. I want to make sure we spend time with everybody. Enjoy Park City.
Sales is more competitive than ever. Customers are smarter than ever before. They're very well informed. You have to think of the customer as a journey, a whole engagement end to end, not a transaction. You have to do the discovery work. You have to understand their requirements and what they're trying to achieve, and then you have to connect your solution with their requirements. That's probably the biggest challenge that a salesperson has. Today, we hear about these mountains of data that have been kind of spewing from these CRM systems over the last 15, 20 years, but there's only a very small percentage of that data that's actually analyzed.
salespeople by design are not always the most organized. They need those guardrails. If you have that playbook and if you can leverage technology to arm them with the information that gets to the right customer at the right time with the right message, you can improve that dial, that lever. When you present those guardrails in a way that helps them achieve better success, then you'll get them to follow it all the time. That's the key thing that we're doing here at Inside Sales.